So terms and conditions, there's sometimes, terms of service. I like to differentiate between the two. So I say terms and conditions are the terms for your website. So they are basically the rules of the road for your website users, what they can and can't do. I mean, we're all creating a ton of content, right? If you think about your blog posts, even just the content of your web pages, I mean, that is our storefront these days. And so telling your users that they can share certain things on social media, telling them that they can't post, abusive, defamatory comments on your blog posts, telling them that you can terminate access if for some reason they are breaching your terms and conditions. Those types of things, you lay those out in your terms and conditions, and they are ostensibly a contract when you have your website users agree to those when you visit, which is why when I said I have people agree to my privacy policy, I also have them agree to my terms and conditions, because it just is an extra, hey, you're aware of this and you know what not to do. So
yeah. And can we talk about that a little deeper? Because you have something in your email when you email people that talk to me about that in your in your kind of email signature.
Yeah, so disclaimers are a big thing in the online space for licensed professionals, like for me as an attorney. And I'm going to give mine now because technically what we're chatting about is legal information. So everything that I am sharing is legal education and information. It's not business, financial, or legal advice. It doesn't create an attorney-client relationship between us. And you definitely want to chat with an attorney in your area to make sure that you're taking the right steps for you and your online business. And so I have those plastered on the website for my law firm as well as my online business, because I have an online business where I work with other online business owners and they can purchase legal templates. So if they're not ready to work with me for one-on-one, contracts and policies custom for their business, they can purchase a template as like the foundation to build off of,
Right.
In the hopes that they're going to work with an attorney to finalize it and eventually work with an attorney to build upon it as their business grows. But disclaimers for licensed professionals, not just attorneys, but financial advisors, for doctors who maybe have found their way into the online health and wellness space, coaches who are giving, business insights, financial insights for those financial professionals who are maybe helping you get out of debt, or all these things that are popping up in the online space. You want to be very, very clear that you're providing education and information, and not that advice that can get you in trouble. So,
wow, yes, that's a whole, I feel like, another conversation there.
Yeah. But disclaimers are part of your terms and conditions on your website, and there are a couple of ways I have them. I am a firm believer of having them more places than less places, because I think it's just a service to you in your business. But having them in your terms and conditions and then having people affirmatively agree to your terms and conditions is like that extra, we're forming a contract and you cannot then come after me later and say, but I relied on this thing that was on your website and a blog post and it's all your fault.
It's like all your fault because I saw it there and it was definitely legitimate in all of the things because I saw it on the website, like the internet. Oh my goodness. That's a lot there. That's definitely a lot. So I want to touch on, before we begin to wrap this up, talk to us about intellectual property and what really kind of constitutes that, and why should we think about getting something like that trademarked and or protected?
Yeah. So there's a couple of branches of intellectual property, or IP. And so there is copyright, there's trademark, and there's patents. And where I focus is trademarks, and that's really looking at, a name of your business, of your product, of, a slogan, a tagline, something that is used to connect a source of either goods or services, because service marks are a thing. They tie to a service, but they are handled similarly to trademarks under the law. So most of the time we just lump them together and say, trademarks, but that's why you see like the little TM and the little SM, one's trademark, one's service mark. But it is a source indicator, right? So it says who made the product, who is providing the service, and it's used in commerce, meaning you are actually providing the product or providing the service or doing something with the tagline, tying it to your product or service or your logo, and you're trying to prevent confusion for consumers. So if you think about Pepsi and Coca-Cola, like they're two very distinct brands. You wouldn't necessarily confuse them. But But the trademark really is there to protect the consumer, which is funny because I think trademark's a bit of a buzzword in the online space, and business owners think they're really, really cool, but at their foundation, it really is to protect the consumers. But the flip side of that is it also gives you brand integrity. So it protects your brand from other copycats. Let's say Nicole Sherry Law. I'm in the process of getting my firm name trademarked. And so that means somebody else can't come in and register or start using that mark if it's going to confuse consumers. So another law firm pops up, they're using that name. I can then say, hey, I've got the rights. And there are what we call common law rights, meaning you don't have to go through the formal registration process to trademark. And you can trademark in your state and you can trademark federally. I'm a huge proponent of federal registration for online businesses because it provides protection in all 50 states versus just your states. And the lines are blurred in online business. Again, you don't know where your customers, your clients are coming from. But having that protection in place to protect your brand and not confuse your clients or customers, because you've worked so hard in your business, you put that blood, sweat equity in, right? And so you want to make sure you're kind of stopping those infringers out the gate, and having that registration really is the way to do that.
Right. And about how long of a process is that from start to finish, give or take?
Yeah, well, things are a little bit backed up right now with the USPTO office between COVID, but also the registration fees increased at the end of 2020. And so everybody was kind of like mad filing. So with the growth of online business, the increase in fees, they kind of were bombarded. But right now, if you are actually using the trademark, so it's not an intent to use application, you're actually in use, it's taking about 9 months to a year, depending on kind of the factual specifics of your application. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, goodness. So if you had to tell the business owner who is listening, who watches the replay, and they say, you know what? I don't have contracts in place. I have been giving people money, receiving money, working with people with none of what was talked about today. What is that first step that you would recommend an online business owner in this case do?
Yeah, so you can book a legal strategy session with me over at NicoleSherry.law.com. And that's where we really just sit down for an hour and chat specifics about your business, what's in place, what's not in place, where you're looking at growing, and chat about the contracts that you should be exploring, the intellectual property protections, insurance. I mean, all those things that as a business you need to be considering and maybe you may not have. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's exciting that you are on your business journey, but this is part of being like a legitimate business owner, is making sure that you've got all your I's dotted, your T's crossed, and you've got a plan in place. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. This has been fascinating. I see some of you are live. I'm at my laptop. I see you're live on LinkedIn. So we thank you so much for joining in. If you have some follow-up questions, you can definitely leave them in the comments. The same for those on Facebook. You can obviously contact Nicole at NicoleSherryOdenLaw.com. And tell us again about, is it a different website for your template shop? Because I think some of us might need some templated contracts. I'm just going out on a limb.
Yeah, so my online business is NicoleSherryOden.com. And there I have a legal shop, and you can snag bundles. So that includes basically, everything from your website policies to contract policies if you are an online service provider, so like your client agreements, to, single templates. So if you just need to get an NDA in place, you can snag an NDA template. And those are at NicoleSherryOden.com.
All right. I am going to add that banner as well, everyone. Let me see here. So, and I'll make sure to put all of these in the comments below so that you can definitely click on those and get yourself a template. Get yourself legal is what I'm going to say. Okay. Or better yet, practice self-care for your business. Okay. I personally, I need to go look up cyber insurance. I'm just going to say it. So obviously I might just have some questions for you. If you have recommendations for cyber insurance, I would appreciate that. So I'm so thankful though for this opportunity to obviously have Nicole on as an expert in this field and to share that wealth of knowledge with each of us. We thank you so much for watching and wishing everybody an amazing weekend. So bye.